A young man was struggling in life. He had no money and no success. Then he made one simple decision: wake up at 5 a.m. every day. He did this for 90 days. After that, his life completely changed. He lived in a small industrial town where factories never stopped working. James was a 30-year-old man living in that town. Day and night, the town was noisy and full of industrial activity. James worked as a security guard in one of the large factories. His salary was very low, just enough to survive. The job was hard and exhausting. He worked night shifts, leaving at 7 p.m. every night and returning home at 4 a.m. in the morning. Long nights, low pay, and no proper rest slowly made his life harder every day. After work, he walked home in silence through empty streets and cold air. He lived in a small, old apartment. There was no proper bed, only a thin mattress on the floor. A weak, hanging bulb was the only light in his room. It flickered, like his hope. His clothes were old and faded from constant washing. His shoes were torn at the front, but he still wore them every night because he couldn't afford new ones. Sometimes he would sit in silence, staring at his empty room, and ask himself, will nothing change in my life?
James tried many ways to change his life. He applied for many jobs, hoping something would work, but he got no response. No calls, no interviews, nothing. Weeks turned into months, but nothing changed. He also wanted to learn new skills to improve his life, but he had a big problem: time. After his night shift, he came home at 4 a.m., feeling very tired. He only had energy to sleep, no energy to study, no energy to learn, no energy to grow. His life became a routine: work, sleep, work, sleep. Every day was the same. His mother lived in the countryside. She would sometimes call him and say, "I want you to be successful, my son." James replied, "I'm trying." But inside, he knew the truth. He was not making real progress. He had no clear plan, no skills, and no direction. He felt stuck in life. James worked hard every day. He gave his best at work. He worked long nights and did everything he could. But still, his life was not changing. Success always felt far away. One day, while he was at work, his phone rang. It was his sister. Her voice was shaking. "James, Mom is not well. She is in the hospital. You need to come right now." James froze for a moment. Without wasting any time, he left everything and took a bus to the hospital. When he arrived, he saw his mother lying on a small hospital bed. She looked weak, tired, and in pain. The doctor said, "She is very stressed. She needs proper medicine, good food, and long-term care." James quietly asked about the cost. It was too much for him. He could not afford it. He stood there in silence, feeling helpless. Then his mother slowly looked at him. Her voice was weak, but full of love. "James, you have to become successful now, before it is too late. I don't want you to live the life I lived. I want you to become someone better, someone strong." James couldn't say anything. He looked at her old hands, full of wrinkles and pain. His eyes filled with tears. He tried to stay strong, but he couldn't. He turned his face away, feeling completely helpless. For the first time in his life,
he realized something painful. Hard work alone was not enough. At that moment, James made a silent decision in his heart. No matter what happened, he would find a way to change his life. While he was sitting on the bus, lost in thoughts, he noticed an old man sitting nearby. He was around 60 years old. The man looked calm, confident, and successful. He had a book in his hand and a peaceful expression on his face. James kept looking at him, confused. He knew this man from the town. He was Mr. Chun, a successful businessman who owned several shops in the city. James couldn't understand it. Why is a successful man like him sitting on a bus early in the morning? After some hesitation, James asked him, "Sir, you are a successful person. Why are you traveling by bus this early?" Mr. Chun slowly stood up and walked closer to James. He looked at him calmly and said, "Today, I will tell you a secret that changed my life 30 years ago." James listened carefully. Mr. Chun continued, "I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. From 5 to 7 a.m., those are my magic hours. In these hours, you can completely change your life." He pointed at James and said, "From today, you will wake up at 5 a.m. From 5 to 6 a.m., you will build your skills. You can learn online courses, trading, e-commerce, anything that improves your future. But you must use that time every single day." James listened without saying a word. Mr. Chun continued, "From 6 to 7 a.m., you will train your body. Do exercise, build your strength, build your mind. A strong body creates a strong mind." He paused for a moment. Then he added, "In the beginning, it will be difficult. The first week will feel uncomfortable. Your body will resist it. But after that, you will get used to it. It will become your habit." Mr. Chun looked at him seriously and said, "You will do this for 90 days. Give yourself fully to this process." Then he handed him his card again. "If you stay consistent for 90 days and complete this challenge, then call me." He leaned in slightly and added, "But remember one thing. If you quit, don't call me. Only call me if you are consistent." James held the card tightly in his hand. This was not just advice anymore. It was a challenge that could change his entire life. Next day at 5 a.m., the alarm rang. James opened his eyes. Getting up was very hard. His body was tired. His sleep was not complete. He felt weak. For a moment, he wanted to sleep again. But then he remembered Mr. Chun's words. Slowly, he got out of bed. He sat at the table and started watching free online tutorials. He learned about online business, e-commerce, and how people build online stores. Everything was new for him, but he kept going. After 1 hour of learning, he moved to the next step. From 6 to 7 a.m., he exercised every day. At first, it was very difficult. Some days he felt like giving up. Some mornings were painful. He struggled just to wake up, but he didn't stop. This became his daily routine. Wake up at 5 a.m., study from 5 to 6, exercise from 6 to 7. After that, he would sleep again and wake up around 2 p.m. For the first 20 days, waking up at 5 a.m. felt like a battle. But slowly, his body started to adjust. It became a habit. Each day, waking up became a little easier. He also started noticing changes in himself. He was losing weight. His body felt lighter. His mind felt more active. After 90 days, everything changed. James finally built his own e-commerce store. This time, it wasn't just an idea anymore. It was real. And slowly, his store started to grow.
Soon, people at the office started noticing the changes in James. He looked more confident. He was healthier, more active, and always full of energy. One day, some of his coworkers came to him and asked, "James, how did you change so much?" James smiled and said, "It's a secret." They laughed and asked again, "Come on, tell us." James replied, "My secret is waking up at 5 a.m. every day. That one habit changed my life."
A few days later, the company supervisor found out that James had started his own e-commerce store. He visited James's online store and was shocked. He couldn't believe what he saw. James had built something that no one else in the company had ever done. The supervisor called James to his office and said, "James, we have an opening in our marketing department. We need someone who can help grow our business. And after seeing what you've done, I think you're the right person for this job. If you accept this position, we will double your salary." James couldn't believe his ears. Just a few months ago, he was working as a security guard, and now he was being offered a job as the company's marketing agent. His life was finally changing. James looked at his supervisor and smiled. "Thank you, sir. I accept the offer. I will join my new position on Monday." James was extremely happy. That evening, he called Mr. Chun. As soon as Mr. Chun answered the phone, James said excitedly, "Mr. Chun, everything happened exactly the way you said. For 90 days, I woke up at 5 a.m. every single day, and now I have become successful. I got promoted at my company." Mr. Chun smiled and said, "James, this is not just a strategy. This is a lifestyle. You must keep this habit for the rest of your life. No matter how successful you become, always wake up at 5 a.m. James nodded and said, "I promise, I will." He was happier than ever before. 1 year later, James was promoted again. His salary increased and his life became much better. He rented a beautiful apartment in the city. Then he brought his mother from the village to live with him. He made sure she received the best medicines and healthy food. For the first time in many years, his mother was smiling again. And when James looked back at his old life, he couldn't believe that everything had started with one simple habit: waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. Every day, James continued to wake up at 5 a.m. He checked his online store and managed new orders. He worked hard to keep his store growing. He also kept learning new skills, read books, and went for a morning walk. For James, the time between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. was very special. There were no notifications, no meetings, and no distractions. While everyone else was sleeping, his mind was at its peak. Whatever you do during this time, you can do it with full focus and energy. He had also learned that many successful people follow this habit. Company CEOs, athletes and great leaders wake up early because they know one simple truth. If they win the morning, they win the whole day.
If you work with discipline and never give up, you can achieve anything you want in life. James had no college degree. He had no support. He had no money. But he had discipline, and that changed everything. He became stronger, smarter, and more confident. He didn't just change his life, he changed himself. And sometimes, that's the greatest success of all. If you watched this video till the end, it means you already have something very valuable. You have internet. You have opportunities. You have access to education. But the real question is, do you wake up at 5 a.m. or do you turn off the alarm and go back to sleep? Maybe for the last 5 years, you have wanted to become successful, but nothing has changed. Then try this simple secret. Wake up at 5 a.m. Stay consistent for 90 days and turn your dreams into reality. Remember, dreams to reality is not just a phrase, it's a journey. And that journey starts with one small step, waking up at 5 a.m. If James could change his life, then maybe you can too. If you want to try this secret, press the like button and tell me in the comments, what skill do you want to build in your first hour of the day? Also, share this video with your friends, especially those who want to become successful but still haven't found the right path.